ॐ स्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतारवरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः। Sri Ramakrishna is speaking. To know the real nature of the bale fruit, one must know all the three. That is, if you want the weight of the bale fruit, you have to take the skin weight, the seeds weight and flesh weight together. Then it gives the exact. Similarly, the world, the God and the Jivas form one whole. God is like flesh of the fruit, but you cannot leave the other, the world and the Jivas. If you want to know the totality, reality, you have to accept all the three as real and inseparable part of each other. It's a process of evolution and involution. The world, after its dissolution, remains involved in God, and God, at the time of creation, evolves as the world. Butter goes with buttermilk, and buttermilk goes with butter. If there is anything called buttermilk, then butter also exists, and if there is a thing called butter, then buttermilk also exists. If the self exists, then the non-self must also exist. When the ultimate, just like when you sleep, you enter into deep sleep, nothing exists. There is no world, there is no others, no duality. You are alone within yourself. But does the world not exist then? For you, it is not existing, because the world you are seeing and your own existence of body, mind, everything, the awareness of it is dissolved in you, and you are again going to project it and superimpose on the reality. Like that, then the whole universe itself dissolves, goes back to its causal form, dissolves in the absolute. It is there as dissolved. It is not to be seen. You don't see your existence at all when you are in deep sleep, because there is no duality, there is no knower, known, and the subject-object is not there. You are alone. No duality is there to who will see whom, who will know whom, when there is one. So, like that, when the universe dissolved in it, when you dissolve in your own existence in sleep, the manifested aspect of yours is merged in your own real existence. And again, it is manifesting to the bodily level again, projecting it. It pervades all the three bodies, the gross, the subtle and the causal, and you come to the waking state. You are this manifested aspect and the withdrawn aspect. When you withdraw, you are a manifested aspect of being one with the physical body and in waking state is there dissolved in you. It is dissolved. That's why it can again project out. Like that, when ultimately nothing exists, only one exists, when the universe dissolves in the absolute, in God, it is there, and the universe is there in involved state, like the tree in a seed. It is in the involved state. Again, the whole tree projects out from the same seed in which it is involved. So, when we see a seed, know that it has a tree within, unseen, unmanifest. If water and soil sunlight is available to it, immediately it shoots forth, projecting out a full-fledged tree again. So Sri Ramakrishna, and if there is butter, buttermilk must be there in some form or other, because butter is taken, manifestation of the butter from the curds. What remains is buttermilk. Once butter is taken out, there must be a substratum in which it has projected and made. It is in some form, you might have thrown away or you might have drunk it, but it is there. Similarly, butter means buttermilk is there. Buttermilk means the butter has been taken away. Butter is somewhere in some form. If there is, if the self exists, then non-self must also exist. If butter exists, buttermilk. It is not essential, non-essential, but it has to be there. The phenomenal world belongs to that very reality to which the Absolute belongs. The phenomenal world in which we are living now, in which we interact. This is there. The phenomenal world belongs to that very reality to which the Absolute belongs. Absolute existence is in which the universe appears. Again, Absolute belongs to the very reality to which the phenomenal world belongs. When we say Absolute, that is relative. With respect to relativity, we say Absolute. But Absolute and relative, when we take them together, Absolute and relative, there is a source from which the before manifestation of the reality, that is the relativity, the relative existence, the universe. Before the universe manifested, what was there is the original. Once it is manifested, it is called Absolute. Once a child comes out, she is called mother. When the child is still in womb, she is no more mother. She is on the way to become mother. So when we say mother, a child is there. When child was in the womb, what she was is a real reality, suppose. Then both mother and child belong to that reality from which mother has manifested and child has manifested. That aspect Sri Ramakrishna is explaining. He who is realized as God has also become the universe and its living beings. We realize God as God. He is both the manifested universe and all living beings. One who knows the truth knows that he alone has become father and mother, child and neighbor, man and animal, good and bad, the holy and unholy, and so forth. All dualities have originated from that one. When one becomes two, it becomes the opposite, two halves of the same. When one becomes two, one will be negative, one will be positive. Always. They merge together to become one again. So when universe is manifesting, all dualities come up. Good and bad, right and wrong, dharma and adharma, all manifest in duality. Man and woman, positive and negative, all poles, they all project forth, always in pairs. Neighbor. Then is there no virtue and sin? Master. They both exist and do not exist. If God keeps the ego in man, then He keeps in him the sense of differentiation and also sense of virtue and sin. As long as ego is there, I am independently doing, there is a sense of right and wrong, because I am going, its effect, ego has its effects to anything done with ego has a reaction to work out. Kartritva, Bhoktritva, Jnatritva. Doership, enjoyership and knowership. These three will be there in every ego. With these three, knowership may not harm much, but it is a part of ego. I know. You don't know. I know. That ego is one. The doership, I am doing. Doership is there, then there's a reaction to action and reaction. It is there. Whatever you do, there is a reaction back from the nature to make you work it out. So you have to experience that which brings pain to you. It is called sin. That which brings joy to you is called merit. Merit and demerit, papa, punya. So sin and virtue exist as when there is ego, because the reactions are there. Enjoyership, I enjoy. There is a reaction to that. I do. There is a reaction to that. I know if it is a ego supported, there is a reaction to it. As long as man has not realized God, he retains the sense of differentiation and knowledge of the good and bad. You may say, virtue and sin are the same to me. Virtue and sin. We see around and say, virtue. People are bad, some people are doing good, some people are doing bad acts. Somebody is killing someone. It's all the same for me. I am not worried about who is doing. But when it comes to me, it accounts, it amounts. You may say virtue and sin are same to me, but I am doing only as God bids me. You may say virtue and sin are same to me. I am doing only as God bids me. But know in your heart that those are mere words. That God is the doer. He is instigating from inside. Our nature is driving me. All these things. But when you do some mistake, the guilt forms. I have done that. No sooner you commit an evil deed than you feel the palpitation in your heart. Somebody stealing, somebody killing, all these things. In the heart of heart you will feel. Even after God has been realized, He keeps in the mind of the devotee, if he so desires, the feeling of servant ego. In that state, the devotee says, O God, Thou art the master and I am thy servant. Even in realized soul, there will be that ego, but the ego is ripe one and it is harmless. He says to the God, You are the master, I am the servant. Such a devotee enjoys only spiritual talk. How do you identify? He doesn't enjoy the worldly talks. He may not hate, he may not dislike, but he spiritual deeds, and does not enjoy the company of ungodly people. Does not enjoy. That doesn't mean that he dislikes or anything, but he doesn't enjoy. He is neutral to them. Neither he drags them to himself or abhors, pushes them away. They are there. I have nothing to participate there. He does not care for any work that is not of a holy nature. So, you see, God keeps the sense of differentiation even in such a devotee. Neighbor, you ask us, sir, to live in the world after knowing God. Can God really be known? Master, God cannot be known by sense organs or mind, but He can be known by the pure mind, the mind that is free from worldly desires. When worldly desires, you are still in the world, attending to all your duties, this, that, but worldly desires are not there for enjoyments of the world, physical level of enjoyments. That is not there. The ego of doership and enjoyership has faded away, and enjoyership has totally left you. Then you will realize God. Neighbor, who can know God? Master, right? Who can really know Him? But as for us, it is enough to know as much of Him as we need. What need I have of a whole well of water? One jar is more than enough for me. An ant went to a sugar hill. Did it need the entire hill? A grain or two sugar was more than enough. See, Sri Ramakrishna is explaining, God is infinite and eternal. Time-wise, there is no end. Space-wise, there is no end. He is everywhere and beyond. Space appears in Him and disappears. Space and time-bound universes appear and disappear. Such universes in millions appear and disappear. You can imagine the dimension of our universe. According to modern science, the diameter of the universe is supposed 3 trillion light years. Light traveling at the speed of 1,86,000 miles per second. If it travels for 1 year, it is called unimaginable dimension. Human mind cannot stretch itself to understand what that 1 light year is. And 1 light year, it is the diameter of the universe is supposed to be 3 trillion light years of distance. What is beyond? Perhaps timeless, spaceless existence. Now the concept of multiple universes are slowly appearing in the minds of scientists. So innumerable, in Hinduism, Ananta Koti Brahmanda, in countless Ananta Koti, endless crores of universes keep appearing and disappearing in that existence, unchanging eternal reality, which we call Brahman, the existence in which universes with all beings in millions appear and disappear, that eternal unchanging reality the Hindus call as the impersonal God. And the same consciousness which pervades, which is infinite, eternal, pervading one of the universe, is called the Lord of the universe. It is a consciousness, it is pure conscious Chaitanya. Chaitanya, the Chaitanya Sagara, this universe is there, the part that is pervading the universe. Like this infinite space is there, there is a hall in which, suppose I am sitting now in a hall. Now this hall is occupying the same space which is infinite space outside. This hall space is called Ishvara, the Lord of universe. The infinite space beyond is called the Brahman, the absolute existence, the unchanging eternal reality, called Brahman, the impersonal God. The space, the consciousness pervading the universe and governing it with a perfect law, it is called the Ishvara, the Lord of the universe. And the same space in every pot and object occupying that space is called the Jivatman, living beings. Living beings is like a pot in which space is there. The space of a pot is living being, Jivatman. The space of the room is Paramatman or Ishvara or the Lord of the universe. And beyond infinite space is Brahman, the absolute existence, the impersonal God of the Hindus, the personal God of the Hindus, the Jivatman, the individual self, all are divinity, because the infinite existence is divinity. All these account to be divinity. That is divinity, this is divinity, and everything. Every jiva is divine, every object is pervaded by divinity and originates in the divinity, merges back in the divinity, the absolute. So every jiva is potentially divine. Sri Vinayakananda says every jiva, every soul is potentially divine. The goal is to manifest this inner divinity by controlling the nature within and without. The nature within is kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya, ahankara, raga, dvesha, all these. That is greed, lust, anger, all these things belong to inner nature of man, and outer nature is constantly subjected to pain and pleasure, and then birth and death, aging, all this externally which is inevitable nature is giving. We have to transcend the internal by conquering our inner enemies and transcend the external by knowing I am not this body at all. So this is the whole thing we see, and Sri Ramakrishna is right. Who can really know who God is? It is infinite existence. I am this pot space. It is one with the absolute space. It is one with the room space. The pot space, the individual jiva, is one with the cosmic existence, is one with the absolute. But at the same time, he is the individual existence. Can this pot space know the infinite space, though it is becoming one with it? So this we are, Sri Ramakrishna is telling, right? Who can really know him? But as for us, it is enough to know, as if we know how much of God, if we know we have transcended the nature, it is sufficient. If we are able to be free from all the laws of nature, or knowing I am divine, a pot is understanding I am space, I am not the clay pot at all. I was all through thinking that I am pot, but now I realize I am space, I am indestructible, I am immortal. The space, the pot comes and goes, the space remains unaffected. Like that, I am Atman. I am a inseparable part of God. That much realization. I am eternal. I am ocean of bliss myself. That understanding, the divinity of man is known, it is sufficient. Sri Ramakrishna says, that much of knowing God is sufficient. That I am inseparable part of God. I am immortal. What need have I of the whole well of water if I need a jug, when one jar of or more than enough for me? One jar is more than enough for me. What is the need? How much of water is there underground? What is the purpose of knowing? One jar is sufficient for me. An ant went to, he is explaining how it is. An ant went to a sugar hill. Did it need the entire hill? A grain or two of sugar was more than enough for it. and he is taking one more in the mouth, it goes back to his hole, thinking that next time when I come, I take the whole hill to my room, to my hole. So we are like that small ant in front of the huge mountain of sugar. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.